Well, thank you for being here with us today on the Cory Lee Fitness and Leadership Podcast. Those are the two things that we talk about. We talk about fitness and we talk about leadership. And our whole goal is to help you get moving and to stay moving. We want you to take action and then be consistent with that action. And today I've got a very special guest today. His name is Mr. Tommy, and Tommy is the CEO of First American Bank here in Northeast Mississippi. And First American Bank, you guys have 10 branches.
We do.
And you have 97 team members, right?
That's correct.
So you got 97 people that are looking to your leadership. So welcome to the Cory Lee Leadership and Fitness Podcast today, and I appreciate you taking the time out of your day. So.
Well, thank you, Cory. Glad to be here.
Yes, sir. Well, Mr. Tommy, I know that you did not go to high school and graduate and then go to college, and they handed you your degree, and First American said, you know what? This is the guy that we want to be our CEO. You just didn't graduate and they hand you that position. Could you share with us a little bit kind of where you came from, some of your background, and then really what drove you? What was that internal drive to want to be more, do more, and achieve more?
Well, Cory, I always said I think there's two things in life that makes you successful, and that's attitude and opportunities. I think God's going to take care of that, of the opportunities, and the attitudes left up to us. I don't know that it was always a primary goal. I just wanted to be the best I could be at whatever situation I was in. And my life has been, especially my professional life, has been a little weird to say the least. 27 years ago, I was working a midnight shift at a local manufacturing facility. I'd been there 6 years, planning on being there forever, I guess. Had the opportunity to get a day shift job since I had two young children at home and one was on the way, and to be able to spend time with them. So I went to work for Tombigbee Electric Power Association. It was the best job I ever had. It was a daytime position, and so it was just a good fit. We had to make a few sacrifices, when we left the manufacturing facility to go to Tombigbee, and so I had some of the workers there had talked with me about possibly running for public office in Etowah County, and first I thought, I don't think so. I was only 30 years old. So anyway, long story short, I did decide to qualify and run, and I was elected as 5th District Supervisor in Etowah County at 30 years of age. So from there, after I was elected, I could manage my time in a way that, I had more time available, So one day I inquired on possibly going back to school and finishing my degree. And so I checked with a counselor at Ole Miss, and where I'd had 70 previous hours of college, they were going to change their School of Business curriculum in the fall of '97. So in order to get grandfathered in and 63 of those 70 hours to transfer, then I would have to get in before the fall of '97. I decided to take a few courses, at night. Long story short, I wound up finishing my degree in '98 with a double major in general business and banking and finance. From there, I did not run for re-election. So I was elected the year of '95. I was served in office from '96 to 2000. So with me finishing my degree, I did not pursue re-election in the year of '99. From there, I got into banking, and I guess the rest is history.
Yeah.
We've had a few unique opportunities along the way, to be able to open a new branch in the city of Fulton. We were able to do that 12 years ago. And as Tubby Smith once said when he was the coach at the University of Kentucky, only by the grace of God and living in America is it possible. So
yeah, and that's great. What you said that really stuck out to me was two things: opportunity and then your attitude. Stuff happens to all of us, right? And you can choose your attitude. You can choose to put a smile on your face and go along with your day. And I kind of believe that opportunities are presented to all of us. We can just kind of choose to see them as an opportunity and go from there. But like you said, I love that, having that attitude of you make the choice for your attitude for the day. I think that's great. That's a really good gem there. So, and all of that, you worked hard, right? It wasn't just handed to you. It sounded like, I mean, you worked, years and time, and you had to craft your skills. People obviously saw leadership ability in you because you had friends that wanted you to, or suggested you run for public office. And then the position that you're in now, people had to see your ability. They see that in you. But that's something that you've had to craft over time, right? And something I believe is that each and every one of us were created with unique gifts, talents, and abilities. But a lot of times that potential goes untapped. And you probably see it as much as I do, but people don't even try sometimes to reach that potential. I guess, what are your thoughts on what do you think holds people back from just even striving to do more, be more, achieve more, or even see what their potential is?
Well, for one thing, it's like you said, we all have opportunities, and we need to find what our weaknesses are. And anything that we're given, we need to take. We need to work, up to our capabilities to work as hard as we can in any position, instead of saying, "Okay, hey, look, that's an easy job they've got. The job I've got is just a bad job." I always said my mom and dad both retired janitors at the Fulton Grammar School. And my goal in life was not to be more successful than them, but to be as successful as them. And simply because, even though that's not a high-profile job, they loved what they did. They loved going to work every day. And so I can't remember the speaker's last name, but his first name was Miles, and it's spelled with M-I-L-E-S. And, he said the most the place that has the most treasures on the earth today is the cemetery. Because there's so many books that was never written that's carried to the cemetery. There's so many businesses that was never written that's carried to the cemetery. There's so many things that was never, no songs written or sang that was carried to the cemeteries, simply because people not taking advantage of the opportunities that's put in front of them. So many times we think things are a burden and they're actually opportunities. So the easy thing to do is not always the right thing to do. Like I said, 27 years ago, the easy thing to me was not to take a pay cut and stay on the current position I had at the manufacturing facility, which was Mueller Copper Tube, and they were a terrific company to work for. The easy thing to be, and I'm not too good to go back there. I'm not too good to work there. It's not that at all. But, it was a nighttime position. The easy thing to do would just be to stay there, and that would have been okay. But, it's just God has a plan. And so many times you have to step out on faith before he's going to put that next step in front of you.
Yeah, I'm with you. And you talked about your mom and dad successful. I think people have a wrong definition of success. They put it in a money term. But I think really the success is defined as doing what you like to do. And like you said, your mom and dad were like that. And I think that's great. And, I really loved what you said about the cemetery, because one of the things that I talk with other leaders on and just people in general is that how do you know you're not the best carpenter in the world or the best banker in the world, the best business person in the world? How do you know that? You won't know that until you actually try and pursue that. So I think that was great too. So it kind of shifting gears a little bit. I've heard a lot of great things about you and heard that you are a really good leader. People look up to you and a role. You're the CEO, but a position and a title doesn't necessarily make someone a leader, right? And you can share whatever you want to on that. And
no, Cory, that's an excellent point. I look at any position I've ever had simply as a title. It's not that I take it lightly. It's not that I'm not going to be determined and trying to do the best I can in anything that. But it's a title only. It's not the person. The person doesn't change, and what you see is what you get. If you like it, that's fine. If you don't, then I can't control that either. But Lee Iacocca, when he was over the Chrysler Corporation, I can remember in the late 70s, he become the CEO of Chrysler and turned that whole company around. But one thing on their commercials was, he said, at Chrysler, we have only one ambition, to be the best. What else is there? So, when you try to say, okay, hey, what is a leader? Well, to me, the greatest leader to ever live has got to be Jesus Christ. Now, the reason I say that, even if you were not a Christian, I am a Christian, but if you were not a Christian, if you did not believe in Jesus Christ as a personal Savior, you still have to admit that he was the greatest leader to ever live. I mean, he had tens of thousands of books written about him, and his ministry only lasted 3 years.
Yeah.
So how can you not be the greatest leader to ever live by impacting so many people, millions of people? You still impact millions of people today, some 2,000 and something years after your death. But what was unique about Jesus, what was unique about his leadership style in comparison to all the other great leaders people may think of, is Jesus led by serving, which was unheard of. So, he's a great example to try to follow.
Exactly, yeah. And all striving, or should be striving to be that.
That's right.
I think that is great too. So one of the things John Maxwell says, he says that anybody can steer the ship, but it takes a leader to chart the course. Now, as you guys have 10 branches and you've got 97 team members that look to you for your leadership and guidance, what is your leadership philosophy, and maybe what are some of the best learning experiences you've had along the way?
I had an opportunity to meet Colin Powell at one time, and he does this. It's like a 2-minute speech, and he was questioned one time about the essence of leadership. And if you look at my computer screen in my office, it's actually a picture of Colin Powell. And he said the essence of leadership is trust. If people trust you, if you'll not let it seen when things are cold, or when you're hungry, or when you're thirsty, or whatever, if you'll not show that to the people, even though the situation may be really bad, the situation can be a lot better than what reality it is. Mm-hmm. And he says he had a sergeant in the speech. He said he had a sergeant said, Lieutenant, people will follow you when you're a good leader, if only out of curiosity. So if people follow you just out of curiosity, in essence, that says you're doing things right as a leader. So the reason I have his picture on my computer is it's just reminded of me that every time I step out of the threshold of my office, there's 97 other people looking to see what kind of expressions on my face, what am I concerned about. So, if I look scared, then they're going to be scared. If I relay to them that everything is okay, I've told our senior management team, hey, there's 2 things that you'll be informed and you'll be empowered. You're empowered to make decisions, and if you're empowered to make decisions, we will stand behind you. Mm-hmm. So
that's good. It took me a little bit on my leadership journey to know to empower people. I thought as early on, a leader is one that's supposed to do everything, but that's not it. You're helping other people grow, and you do that by you empower them to do things, and sometimes they fail, but that's a lesson. So that's great right there. So, Mr. Tommy, we're going to wrap up real quick, but I got some rapid-fire questions for you real quick, okay? All right, so what are you reading or learning right now?
Actually, I don't do a lot of reading. I do a lot of listening. I listen to a lot of the leadership things. I've just mentioned some of those. Finishing some coursework with the LSU Graduate School of Banking. I hope to finish that up this spring.
So learning banking.
Learning banking.
You're still in college, right?
Still in college, that's right.
There you go. Well, I'm with you. That's most of the time I'm in the automobile university. I'm listening to a book or a podcast or something to learn and grow. So I'm with you. What is the most physically challenging thing you've ever done?
Physically challenging, I guess. About 5 years ago, I played athletics all through school, and about 5 years ago, I decided to start back jogging again. So I guess getting up to being able to jog 1 mile was the most physical thing at being, 50 years old. So anyway, but now I do that 3 days a week. I try to jog 5 miles 3 days a week. So it's, but the most physically challenging, that was probably it.
That's good. Making that first step, right?
Making the first step and growing from there.
There
Absolutely.
you go. Look where you're at now, right? That's good. That's good. So I was going to ask you, do you like to exercise or any particular exercise? But it sounds like jogging.
Yeah, I like to jog. I don't know that liking it. It makes me feel good. It relaxes my mind.
Yeah.
Especially if I do it early in the morning. But do you like doing it? I probably don't like brushing my teeth, but I know I need to do that.
Right.
So yeah, physically fit's something that's important.
That's right. You only brush the teeth that you plan to keep, right?
There you go.
So,
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
What about, all right, so you kind of touched on it a little bit. So if I were to go into your truck or your car right now and were to crank it on, what kind of music would I be listening to?
You could possibly be listening to anything except the screaming rock or rap. Now, any other thing is it's open menu. It could be gospel, it could be country, it could be soft rock, southern rock. Probably probably my favorite would be southern rock.
Southern rock. There you go.
So, anyway.
There you go. You want to at least be able to understand the words.
That's right.
There
That's
you go.
right. Yeah.
There you go. What about your favorite place you've ever vacationed or traveled to?
Well, that's interesting you asked that, because this year we had an opportunity to go to Montana. And we saw Glacier Mountain and all that, and it was the most beautiful thing that I've seen. So.
Really?
But yeah, Montana, I'd have to say.
Wow. I've never really considered going to Montana, but how about that? That may be somewhere I need to check out then.
Put on your bucket list.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. So last one. If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Superman. That's an easy one.
Yeah. There you go. All right. Yeah. Just Superman. Have them all, right?
That's it. That's it.
There you go. Well, Mr. Tommy, I greatly appreciate your time today. If you have 10 locations, but if someone needed to reach out and they currently don't have a banking relationship, where could they find one of your locations, or how would it be easy to get in touch with you guys?
Sure. We're located. We've got 5 locations in Tishomingo County, which is Iuka, Belmont, Tishomingo, Golden, and Burnsville. We've got one located in Prentice County in Boonville. We've also got one in Saltillo, Tupelo, and Fulton. So we've actually got 2 locations in Fulton, our Southgate location there at Fred's, and then, of course, our main location down close to Walmart. So we've got 10 locations to service you. Our folks know the most important piece of technology we've got is the hinges on the front door. If they don't work, we don't get paid. So come in, drink a cup of coffee, get a soft drink, water.
Take care of them.
Take care of you.
That's
Absolutely.
Right. There you go. Well, Mr. Tommy, again, I do appreciate you taking the time out of your day. Man, I learned some stuff. That was really good. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for listening to the Cory Lee Fitness and Leadership Podcast. I hope today has encouraged you and motivated you to get moving and stay moving. Hope you guys have a great day, and God bless.